again with our third episode on the round of 16. After watching the group stages, this is all sponsored by 3 Crown Sportsbook. If you want to make any wagers in the next week on the World Cup, NBA, or NFL games, just message us on Instagram or Facebook. 3 Crown Sports and Media is the one powering this podcast, and this is Max here with us.
What's up, guys? Glad to be back for our third episode here. Going to talk about our group stages and then going into the round of 16, thinking who was going to win, who we would put our money on for that.
Yep. So we're going to start with the group stages. I started off really strong, and then it looks like I'm going to end up with a lot of losses at the end and the bottom of the bracket. But let's start with Group A, right? So we had Netherlands, Qatar, Ecuador, and it was Senegal?
Senegal, yep.
Okay. So I had picked Netherlands to go first and Senegal to come second, so nothing new there. It was a tight group at the end with Ecuador having that first win on their first game, but it all seemed like Senegal had... like at the end when they came together to play, it seemed like Senegal had like a really good team, a solid team, and then Senegal ended up taking the second spot. So is there any surprises for you there?
Not there. In my bracket, I did have Qatar going through just because I just thought, something was going to pop up.
Yeah.
Whenever we recorded, we had heard some speculations of some bribery going through. Yeah. So I was all like, hey, if that's happening, I could totally see them making out the group. But Qatar did exactly what we thought they were going to do, and ended up with 0 points. So it's a crazy one. They scored 1 goal, which was okay. But yeah, Netherlands, Senegal, I am not surprised about that. Ecuador had a very great time. And then Valencia killed it whenever he was playing. But yeah, not much surprises from Group A.
Yeah, so let's go to Group B. This one, also not very surprising according to our picks. Obviously, I didn't want the U.S. to pass. I wanted Iran to pass instead of the U.S. because of what had been coming with this Mexico euphoria that we were going to not pass and stuff like that. So, yeah, England goes up first, which was not surprising at all. They played a really good first game, and then the second and third one was very weak from them, especially against the U.S. But the U.S. is second. Any surprises there? Any players that you really liked?
Just talking a little bit about the USA more than like England. They are one of the only teams to not have conceded from open play. The only goal they conceded this World Cup came from a penalty. So that's kind of important to throw out there because they've gone against Wales, England, and Iran. Iran, all teams that have been ranked in the top 20.
Yeah. And
they have not conceded a goal from open play. So that's honestly really, really cool to see. A little surprised, I don't know if you've been keeping up about it, about the Gio Reyna incident. Gio Reyna, arguably one of the better players in the midfield, has gotten less minutes than Shaq Moore.
Yeah.
Which is not like, it's just a little weird to see because Gio Reyna, a player who plays for Dortmund, could be a game changer in a lot of these instances, has seen no more than 20 minutes on the field this whole World Cup. So,
well, maybe when it comes down to Gio Reyna, the tactics that the U.S. has been using, especially against England, was very defensive-minded. Gio Reyna gives this offensive attack that might be the reason why he hasn't played, or maybe just the coach doesn't like him.
Yeah, it could be that. And then another one, as I'm wearing my FC Dallas jersey, for those of you guys watching on YouTube, you guys are able to see this wonderful jersey. But Jesus Ferreira has not played a single minute.
Also.
And it's crazy to think because Berhalter said he picked Ferreira over Pepe. And we have not seen a single minute from Ferreira. And I feel if Pepe would have gone, he would have seen some minutes already.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see this dynamic of what Berhalter is doing. In my opinion, Berhalter is not the coach for the U.S. He shouldn't be the coach for the future. But he's doing a good job. He got out of the group. He did more than he did more than what a lot of people thought. But now we'll see for their future games. But we'll talk about that later as we move on to Group C, unless you have something else to mention about.
No, I just hope the Netherlands destroy the U.S. in the next match. But Group C now, this another. This was a disappointing one. I had Argentina first and Mexico second. Argentina comes in first. Poland comes in second. Could have been one of the groups of deaths. It came down to the last game for all four teams. Saudi Arabia had 3 points, so
to the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
But I mean, nothing surprising here. I mean, the only way, like I said in the previous episode, the only way Mexico had a chance, or the most important game, was against Poland.
Mm-hmm.
That game was the determinant of this group. If we beat Poland, we don't have to worry about anything else, because Argentina was a sure loss, whether we think the lineups, whether we think the coach was bad. Argentina was just a sure loss, and even if I say this controversial statement, I don't think we played very bad against Argentina. They had 2 shots on target, and both of them were goals. One, you can't, obviously, there's nothing you can do about it. That's the Lionel Messi. You can't stop that. You can't do anything to that shot. So we can't arguably say that we didn't try. So the first 60 minutes of Mexico were very good towards the tactics that we played. So we played a defensive game, and we did it correctly. And that's what Tata wanted. Whether we had an offensive game or not, that wasn't the point of the tactics that we had. That's why we had a line of 5. That was not the point of... We weren't supposed to attack in that game. That's why they had Chucky Lozano running down the field, Alexis Vega running down the field, because we weren't supposed to play an offensive game. So for me right here, the big takeaways of Mexico are just trying to stay positive. Yeah, outside of soccer, we can talk about the federation. We can talk about how the league has deteriorated. We can talk about how there's so many extranjeros in La Liga MX. We can talk about all of this, but none of that matters towards soccer or football. There's nothing collaboratively that we have to understand more in the scheme of like corporations. That is not our business. We talk about soccer, and Mexico played poorly against Poland. Against Argentina, for the tactics they played for 60 minutes, they played good. I would have liked to see Edson once Guardado got injured, and I think that would have really changed the game, and we might have tied against Argentina if it weren't for Hector Herrera playing that position at the end of the game. But I don't know, Max, do you have anything to say about El Tata or anything?
I mean, for Mexico in general, I thought they were very poor. Against Poland, it just felt like there was no energy. Against Argentina, it just felt like they were very defensive. The one game they actually went up and attacked, they actually won. They had opportunities to score. They scored 2 goals, but they could have scored more. And that's the one thing I'm kind of disappointed in Mexico, is that they had these opportunities, and they knew they had it in them. It's just that it never came out until the last game, and it came out a little too late, in my opinion. But with that, you said you want to look at some of the positives. Chavez, gem for the Mexican national team. I would be surprised if come January he's still in Liga MX.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him play in Europe. Not only that, I'm excited to see... I'm very excited for the next Mexico game, because I want to see Chavez play. And the thing is, with a different lineup, we can use those little qualities that he has to make Chucky better, to make Alexis Vega better. Because I think come forth, we have a really good center back, which is Montes. We have Chavez, who's a really good midfielder. But the rest, like Chucky and Alexis, are going to be gems that are going to be put into that team. And we just need them projected with the game of Chavez, and it's just perfect because he has a shot, he has everything. So players have to play him much more defensive, closer. Like they have to come up, they have to bring their lines up if now that they know that Chavez can shoot the ball. So for me, it's more of like this next game, this next World Cup, we have Chavez, we have other set pieces that are for sure there, which is I think is Alexis Vega, Chucky, Chavez, and Montes.
And Edson.
Edson. So if we have those set pieces, they all go to Europe, and we bring them in for the next 4 years. If we can bring those set pieces next to them, they don't have to be another Chavez, they don't have to be another Chucky, but they just have to be set pieces that work for the team. I think we have a nice thing to look forward to for 2026. Right?
Yeah. And speaking about that, with a hopefully new vision for the World Cup, it's looking like there's going to be a new head coach for Mexico as well. Tata Martino said that his time as Mexico's head coach ended when the final whistle was blown against Saudi Arabia. So we're kind of thinking about who's gonna take over. The federation did say the new coach is going to be someone who's had experience leading Mexico to success. That's what they said. That could mean
there's a lot of
people. There's 3 names that come to mind for me. One of them is more likely than the other 2. The 2 that I don't think will happen, Juan Carlos Osorio. I just don't think that's gonna happen. And then La Volpe. That's another one who I think probably won't happen. The one that I think that will mostly happen, Miguel Herrera.
I think from those 2, I think another one that he didn't have success, but a lot of Mexicans love his like style of playing, especially he's been so many years in Tigres, is Tuca Ferretti, which is another name that has been sounding. The first reports were that we were going to get another foreigner. So I heard the name of the ex-PSG coach, that coach Mbappe, and then I heard about another Argentinian who might be in the names surrounding the coaching, the new coaching staff. But I would like to see. I don't even know if I want to see like anything like Tuca Ferretti, because Tuca Ferretti's also style is very compact and very like through ball, and I don't like that. I think also Miguel Herrera was the closest to having like this more beautiful game or style of game, but still I just don't want. I feel for the talent we have in Chavez and Edson, we should have a more possessive ball game than anything, because I think that midfield is going to be in the top of the CONCACAF if they get to levels like McKinney. But it doesn't look like any other CONCACAF team has a midfield as promising as Mexico's within just the U.S. I don't see Canada becoming that next midfield force, but
yeah, the U.S. midfield consists of Musa, Adams, McKinney, and then you have players coming off the bench like Gio Reyna or Kenan Acosta, stuff like that. They're a tough midfield to go against. But like you said, I think this was the last time we saw Guardado, Herrera, Raúl put on the Mexico jersey.
Oh yeah.
So we're going into a brand new era, I feel, which includes Edson Alvarez and Chavez. On the other side, like I don't think that's all up in the air. It could be Aguirre, Gutierrez, Romo, players like that. I don't think it would be a player like Romo because he's very similar to the way Chavez plays. Yeah. And they're also both left-footed.
I think by the time Luis Romo, I really liked him to be developed for this World Cup. Yeah. I think for the next World Cup, I think he's going to have more experience, but he's going to be on the older side. I think he's going to be like 32. Or if I'm not wrong, he's 28 right now. So for the next World Cup, he would be 32, which surrounding like this idea that all the teams that have this older group of guys ends up losing, like Belgium, which is another big surprise we'll be talking about. I think we should start thinking about the other players like Flores. We should start talking. We should start thinking of Lainez. We should start thinking of these. We have good midfielders. It's the thing. We do have good midfielders, and the thing is, I know everybody hates to hear this, but the only reason why the Mexican team is like really having trouble is because Chivas is doing bad. It's the only Mexican national, like it's the only team with all Mexicans, and if they don't have good midfielders, well, the other ones you can pick from are probably America, but America has like 3 foreign midfielders.
Sendejas, I felt should have been called up this World Cup.
Cendejas.
Alejandro Sendejas, I thought should have been called up. But yeah, you have players like Emilio Lara. You got a lot of younger players. You got Kevin Alvarez, who I think he's gonna be crazy for the next World Cup. Like the thing is, Mexico has a lot of not young players as like the U.S. because the U.S. has a bunch of players that are 20 to 23. Mexico's promising players are a little older now.
Did you see that list of like the promising players from like
I have not
18 to 23, and it's like the U.S. has like at least 15 players that within that age and playing in Europe, and the only player playing in Europe within that age, I don't know if it's Flores. I think it's the only one who's under 23 playing.
Yeah.
But the U.S. has this stacked ass team coming for the next few years. I mean, I'm scared to play with them. I think even now, I still don't think that Gio Reyna. I think they're very like promising players.
Yeah.
The thing is developing them, and that's the problem with Mexico right now. We're not developing players. Luis Romo was supposed to be this great player. We had a couple of Aguirre. We had a couple of players that we were like, for next 4 years, this is gonna be our talented team. Oh, why are we still playing with Hector Herrera and Guardado?
Yeah.
You know, if you knew if Tata said we don't have the set pieces for this World Cup, which he said multiple times, you didn't give me players that are promising to win games, then why the heck would you not try to develop players like Marcelo or like any other midfielder like Cendejas who will like fit, even if they make mistakes like Kevin Alvarez. I think Kevin Alvarez had a good World Cup because he's young. He's getting that experience. Yes, we didn't pass, but now he has a World Cup behind his back.
And, I mean, 2018, Edson Alvarez had arguably his worst ever game.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was against. I think it was against Sweden. He had his worst ever game. He scored an own goal. He did all of this crazy stuff, starting at right back. And now look at him. Edson Alvarez is like the anchor for this team.
It's funny because I feel like Mexicans who support the national team are very short-minded. Because I think we were talking shit about Osorio. This is why I'm done talking shit about coaches. Because I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything that Tata didn't make this perfect formation. I can't do anything of the fact that we played with Línea de Cinco when we've never ever played like that against big teams in the World Cup. Like, I can't do anything about it. Like, I can only talk about how we played tactically and how we played surrounding his idea of soccer, right? That's the only thing I can talk about. So when we talk about shit about Tata or we talk bad about Osorio, like, it doesn't do us any good. We're like short-minded to think about like Edson had a really bad World Cup in the last 4 years, and then all of a sudden now everybody loves him. Everybody's on Edson. Everybody's this is why, like, I remember I would talk really bad about Edson from the last World Cup, and now I'm like, no, he's a good player, you know. But I'm not gonna be like Edson Alvarez. Oh my God,
that's because he's an America player. If he was a Chivas player, he would be like next level, next to Messi for him, you know.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like, I agree. I feel it's scary for Mexico because they failed to qualify for the U20 World Cup. They failed to qualify for the Olympics. That should be our youth, our next steps. And we failed to do that. Basically, the U.S. team that set the World Cup could all play for the Olympic team.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
They're going to have a good team. I do actually want to watch that team in the Olympics. I think that U.S. team is going to be very promising.
And that's the thing. Like, none of the players that are at the World Cup are going to the Olympics.
They're not?
Because they have so many other players.
Oh, shoot.
So
if they go, I would have said, like, what, silver, bronze?
Potentially gold. if this team goes to the Olympics, I don't know. It's just wild. And that's what's scary about Mexico. They failed to qualify.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they failed to qualify in the female, also in the female World Cup. I think in every aspect, like, they just failed miserably. Which, yes, if we want to talk about the corporate side, obviously we have to bring new guys who understand more of, like, the development of players. and we just have to clean out La Liga MX. This is one of the big reasons I don't watch it anymore. Not only because Chivas hasn't been playing very well, but it's just very hard to watch when you have like 8 Argentinians on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so now we're gonna go to Group D after having a very passionate talk about Group C. That was, I called it. I called it. You know, you said that France wasn't gonna gonna come out.
I for real thought the curse was gonna carry on, and it didn't. France surprised me, and I think surprised a lot of people. After watching their first game, I was like, okay, yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah.
After watching their first game. But yeah, I actually thought Denmark was gonna go through. Like with France going in, I thought Denmark would have gone through, and they just did not perform how people wanted them to.
No, I mean they even came in last place. So surprising enough, Denmark has a really good team. Like they have the set pieces. They're the Mexico of the European soccer that we think of right now, and we're like disappointed. Because I think Denmark was top 10 in FIFA rankings. So Denmark was the 10th place of that top 10, and they didn't qualify. So for me, like, it's not that I didn't like how Denmark played. I love Eriksson. I just don't think the quality of soccer is up there. So I initially thought, I don't think Tunisia is going to pass. I was like, Australia. And that's what happened. Australia came in second. They don't really play really good soccer. I think I was sweating some of the games because they do not play really good at all. It's just basically full hearts and everything. I think at one point there was 18 players in the box when they played France. It's just I don't know what. Australia is not going to get very far. I think Argentina should breeze past.
Yeah, so again, for Group D, France and Australia went through. So Group E, this one
surprising
it was wild for a couple minutes. At one point, this is the group with Japan, Spain, Germany, and Costa Rica.
This is the one I said it was a group of death, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one I said it was a group of death.
Yeah. This was crazy because at one point, for like 5 minutes, Japan and Costa Rica were the ones going through. Ultimately, Japan and Spain went through with Germany tumbling out in the group stage for the second time in a row. So we should talk about a little bit about that, you know?
Yeah, I think Japan, without a surprise, I don't honestly think they have a good team either. It's just these small teams with very fast players who just finish out of nothing and get lucky out of a ball that might have been out, might have not. I don't think it was out. Regardless of that, I don't think Japan is this stronghold that we think. But they pass first. They're going against a group, a second in a group. So they have a good chance of even passing to the next phase. The thing is, Germany has a great team. I think Spain right now, and it surprised me, is probably the best team in the World Cup. They play very good. Ferran, all these players really match really good with each other. I thought it was a very young roster for what could be a really good World Cup. But they're contenders for the World Cup. Germany just couldn't score. Musiala, I think, as we will talk later about the prizes of the World Cup and who we think are going to be the next best players. Costa Rica, obviously, we didn't expect anything from them. But at one point, a team that lost 7-0 could have gone through a second place. That's insane to me. So that's why I called it the group of death. And so I said that Spain or Germany, one of the two, was going to come out. But I picked Germany and Spain. So I did get those wrong. I think you picked Spain and Germany, right?
Yeah, I think I picked Spain and Germany, with Spain finishing up top and then Germany second. And yeah, Japan just shut us all up. So
yeah, Japan shut us up.
So that's how it goes. But yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about that in here. Moving on to Group F, a group with Belgium, Canada, Croatia, and Morocco.
This one's also very surprising. This is a World Cup of upsets. So if you want to bet on anything, next World Cup, think about this. We should just put money on every single upset there is. Because this is a World Cup of upsets. Morocco came in first place, which, surprising enough, we were talking about this, not surprising at all. Morocco was top 25 in the FIFA rankings. They gave trouble to Croatia. They gave trouble to Belgium. And probably the one that we really think should have at least won a game, Canada, lost all three. Mm-hmm. And Kevin De Bruyne, I think just mentally they were just out of it. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne at one point said, we're too old to win this World Cup. At that point, if you say that in the middle of a World Cup, you're not going to win the World Cup. Like, you don't believe it yourself. You don't believe the fact that you're going to win the World Cup. That at what point, like, you know, and now we see Belgium's third, Croatia's second. Croatia didn't play very good either. If anything, I would have seen Morocco and Canada passing because Canada played really good. Canada lost, what, 1-0 against Belgium?
Yeah, 1-0 against Belgium, and that game was crazy. Canada had 22 shots on target, or 22 shots, 3 on target compared to Belgium's 9. And Belgium won 1-0. And you look at Canada's lineup, you know, you got people like Jonathan David, Hoylett, Buchanan. Their top 3, I thought they were wonderful this World Cup. You have players like Alphonso Davies, who was just like killing it on and off. This team only scored 1 goal. The other one came off an own goal.
Yeah.
Like, it could be because it was their first World Cup in 50-something years. They were nervous. There were a little bit of everything. But, you know, also their main goalie wasn't there. He got hurt. I think he broke his leg in the MLS playoffs in the finals. So you see that, but it's a team that I thought would have done more. A player like Jonathan Osorio, he killed it whenever he was on. I'm pretty sure he just re-signed with Toronto. So I wouldn't be surprised if we might see him move somewhere to a bigger club in the MLS. Or even move to a smaller league in like Europe, you know, not top 5 leagues, but somewhere like a Belgium or a stuff like that. A player like Buchanan, who plays in Belgium's top league, he knew kind of the playing style that Belgium might have, and yeah, it was just crazy to see this Canada team, who I thought really could have done more than what they did, end up winning 0 games. They should have won this Belgium game. Yeah. They could have tied the Morocco game, and they got absolutely slapped by Croatia. So it's a team that I think that could have ended with 6 points, ended up with 0. So
yeah, I just love watching Canada play. I think Buchanan, I think Davies are very promising players for that team. The formation they have right now is beautiful. That's the type of formations. I wish Mexico at one point could develop these very good center backs. And I'm not talking about like center backs like Nestor Araujo. I'm not talking about Hector Moreno. I'm talking about players like that look promising like Montes or like a Rafa Marquez. And we can play 3 in the back. And all of a sudden we have this stacked midfield. You know, a stacked midfield with Edson, Chavez. We can add Lozano. We could add all these type of players. And I love their lineup, just that their back 3 isn't very strong. You know, you look at their back 3, and this is why Croatia scored 4 goals on them. Their back 3 isn't this stronghold of a team, but that formation is very promising because Davies bringing up the ball really, really causes some problems for most teams, you know?
Yeah, and then there's a player that I did want to talk about for Canada, which I think was a big reason why they ended up losing to Croatia. It just was not a good idea to play. I think he's a 37-year-old in the midfield. I'm trying to see who it was. Was it this dude? Yeah, Atiba Hutchinson. He is currently 39 years old.
He plays in MLS, no?
He right now it says he plays for Besiktas.
Oh, okay. I think that's it.
Yeah, so it's just crazy to think like, yeah, he's a good player, but he's 39. You know, and against a young, or not young, but a fast midfield
very fast. Of
Modric, Kovacic, and Brozovic, like, I don't know. I don't know if the coach thought it was a good idea. I know he's like a captain for the team, but same way how Guardado came in to the Argentina game, I think Guardado did a phenomenal job when he was on the field.
Yeah, for his age.
But
Totally.
I'm like, how are you gonna play Guardado Herrera at the same time? Two older players against a very, very young and fast Argentina team.
Against the ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's just naming the Paul there. It was just like, man, you're gonna have Hector Herrera and Guardado go against like one of Argentina's most promising midfielders, which is the Paul.
Yeah, but in short, Canada is going to have a promising future. It was all of these players' first World Cup. Same with the U.S. It's their first World Cup. And even though Canada absolutely got 0 points, even though they were top of CONCACAF, I feel like a lot of these players have gotten that World Cup fever dream out now. They finally made it to one. They made it through, and now they're hosting the next one alongside Mexico and the U.S. I think they have a great future for that.
Yeah, at least we qualified to the next World Cup.
Once that final whistle was over, we're qualified for the next one. So
I mean, this is what I'm saying, that Mexicans have this short memory, because nobody's mad anymore of the fact that the reason why we qualified to the 2018 World Cup was because of another team. You know, like we're not even talking about that anymore. But all of a sudden we play this huge game against Germany, and all of a sudden we're back. You know, we're back.
Like 2014, the only reason we got in is because of Panama.
Yeah. So if we talk about these things, now we understand how Mexico, the reason why Mexico didn't qualify, development, everything. This coach Tata wasn't for this lineup, a lot of things. But we're gonna go on to the next group because we could ramble about Mexico.
So we're moving on to Group G. So I will mention, at the time of this recording, the Group G game has not been played yet. So we're still going to make an inference on who we think will go through. And it's Brazil, Switzerland, Cameroon, and Serbia. And the games, Brazil versus Cameroon and Serbia versus Switzerland, I still think that Brazil finishes top. And now the next one is Switzerland, Serbia. That one's going to be a little closer for me to decide, but again, I think Switzerland, who's the team who I said would go through, I think that would stay true. What do you think, Mayo?
I think Brazil's gonna go first. I don't see Cameroon beating Brazil today, and I don't see Serbia destroying Switzerland. If anything, I do see like this same standing going through, which is Brazil, Switzerland. I would have wished that my pick, Cameroon, would be already in second, because then they wouldn't have to depend on themselves. But it's going to be Brazil, Switzerland, I think. Sad for Serbia, because the two games I've watched them play, they play really good soccer. Really, really good football. Football.
It's called soccer after the U.S., it's called soccer. But
they play really good, man. So I hope Serbia passes, because that's really good football. Cameroon plays like this very fast type of football, which is going to be very interesting, because Brazil, Cameroon is going to be a really good game, but I don't see them beating Brazil. But yeah, I mean, what else can we talk about? Brazil probably going to win the World Cup. Who knows?
Still my favorite. And now we move on into Group H, a team with South Korea, Ghana, Portugal, and Uruguay. The game just ended as we started recording this. South Korea scored a late goal, knocking out Uruguay. So I would like to say another upset. Uruguay not making it through. I know a lot of people have been saying like Uruguay hasn't been that good working as a team and stuff like that, but I felt similar to Mexico, Uruguay, they just come up for the World Cup, They do their thing. But as it turns out, Portugal and South Korea made it through.
Yeah, so I'm interested because I'm looking at the standings right now. So South Korea had 4 points, right? Uruguay had 4 points. The reason why South Korea is passing might be because of yellow cards.
No, it's for goals for.
Okay.
Yeah, because their goal differential is 0-0. but
They scored 4 goals.
they scored 4 goals.
Who was it against? Against
Against
Ghana, right?
Let's see. Let's look at their games right now. South Korea beat Portugal 2-1.
Oh shoot! That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's what it was, and they scored in the 91st minute. So, a last-minute goal.
Portugal sold
to send out. Yeah, Portugal sold, and then Uruguay did what they could. They could have scored more.
Who scored?
Um,
Some random player. I think he ended up. He played.
Arrasqueta.
I think he played in the Liga MX.
Yeah, so he scored 2 goals in 4 minutes, and that's all the goals they had.
So I got that one wrong. Ghana. It looked really promising at first, and then just dismantled. So, what can I say? My bottom of my bracket is really bad. We'll pull up the brackets for both of us on the stream. But
I had Uruguay in the final.
yeah, your bracket is broken from one
my
side.
bracket's completely broken on one side. But as we're doing this, we should let's talk about, like, now that we talked about all the group stages, let's go through each World Cup game for the round of 16 and pick our winners. So we start off with the first game of the round of 16s, Netherlands versus USA. You know who I'm picking. Team USA all the way. I believe that we will win. Come on, Seattle, fight and win. You know, this is... I don't see us making us past the quarterfinals, but I do feel that there's a chance against the Netherlands. And the reason why I say this is because for both of these teams, it's their first World Cup for a lot of these players. The Netherlands failed to qualify in 2018, and yeah, they had the success of 2010 making it to the final. 2014, I'm pretty sure they made the semifinals. In 2018, they didn't make it. This year, like, that whole core that made 2 back-to-back semifinals isn't here anymore. And yeah, you do have a lot of good players who have played in Champions League, who have done all of this stuff, but you also have a hungry Team USA that is all like, we're trying to prove people wrong. People have always undermined CONCACAF teams, and for fair reason. We had 4 teams qualify, and only one of them is in the next round. You know, so for fair reason, people like laugh at CONCACAF every year because we say, "Oh, this year
is our year.
We're gonna Mexico. This year we're making it to the quinto partido. We can't even make it to the 4th game."
Yeah.
The USA failed to qualify for last World Cup, and I feel for a lot of these players, like, they already made it this far, and I don't see why the USA wouldn't beat the Netherlands. I feel that's a very close game. A lot of people who might not watch the USA might not know this. I know I've seen a lot of people in England who were the perfect example. I don't know if you watch, like, the Sidemen at all, but KSI, he said, when did America become good at football? He tweeted that out. And in my head, I'm like, people don't know the U.S. They just see the U.S. and they're like, oh, they suck because they're the U.S., because they're playing CONCACAF. But then they see this team and they're like, oh, they haven't conceded a goal in open play. This team can actually do something. And that's what I like, because a lot of people don't know the U.S. players.
No, a lot
but
of people
the U.S. players,
they're good.
They're pretty good.
They're good.
They're good. Tyler
McKinney,
Adams. I'm one of the best captains we've had in a while.
Easy.
So
fuck London.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to beep that out.
But yeah.
But he peed in the Estadio de Chivas when they played. I think it was Mexico. He peed in the center. Did you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Guadalajara. I'm pretty sure it was Guadalajara. He peed in the center, and then he got, like, players around him. I don't know if you remember about that.
I heard about it, but I don't remember it, like, watching it and stuff. But yeah, I feel Christian Pulisic. I don't know if
he's gonna be ready.
He'll be ready, because he did go out with an injury. He was in the hospital with an injury that's listed as day to day.
He'll be back.
I think he'll be back. But the thing is, I know he'll be back. I know he'll play. But will he be 100%? And that's the thing. Christian, he's going to be like, put me in, coach. Put me in. But we don't know if he'll be 100%. And that could actually come back and hurt the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
bets, yeah, I would say
Team USA.
I would pick Team USA. I'm pretty sure Mayo has a different opinion on this.
I hope the Netherlands just destroy them. For CONCACAF reasons, yes, USA. USA has one of the easiest routes. I mean, like you said, they haven't conceded a goal in open play. The Netherlands have a really good team on paper. They didn't play all that. I mean, they played against Qatar, they played against Senegal, and then they played against Ecuador, which aren't very strong teams. It's not surprising they were first. I think Mexico, with this team playing line of 5, they would have been first. It's just, honestly, the USA, I hope USA doesn't win, because I don't want to get it shoved on my face that Team USA passed.
Oh, we will shove it down your face.
But the Netherlands don't look very promising. And honestly, Argentina, going to the next stage, Argentina plays Australia. Argentina's going to pass. But Team USA against Argentina?
You don't think Australia got a chance?
No.
I mean,
if
Saudi Arabia beat Argentina.
Yeah, that is true. But I don't know. It's not going to happen twice.
It's not going to happen twice.
It's all made up so that Messi wins his World Cup. So he steps on the Mexican jersey again and gets beat up by Canelo.
Yeah. So we just went through the first 2 games of the round of 16. Both of these games will be played on Saturday. So yeah, I picked USA, Argentina.
Netherlands, Argentina.
Okay, we move on to the Monday games. Again, one of these games is still not decided because we're waiting to see who finishes first and second in Group G. But based off of what we expect that's going to happen, the 2 games that will be played are going to be Japan and Croatia and Brazil, South Korea.
Yeah, so Japan, Croatia, like I said, I don't see anything from Japan. I don't like Croatia either. From what I've seen them play, I think Croatia's gonna pass, and then that should be Brazil in that position. I think that's the first, that's the first team against the second team. Brazil should beat South Korea if Brazil ends up beating or staying in first place. We don't know what's gonna happen yet, but Brazil, it should be Brazil, Croatia in the semis. What do you think, Max?
I think so, but I'm really excited to see that Japan-Croatia game. That game is one that I think a lot of people are going to sleep on.
Yeah.
Especially we all slept on Japan, and I feel people are going to continue to sleep on them even though they finished top of their group. Croatia's team is just... That's the thing. Japan's team is fast. Croatia's team is old. So we're going to have to see a Croatia team who likes to control the ball and attack. But then that leaves a lot of space for the counter, which is, I feel, where Japan will thrive.
And again, I'm going with favorites. I know Croatia's going to be a favorite. I know Argentina's going to be a favorite. And I know the Netherlands. Argentina and the Netherlands lines are already out. Argentina is minus 1,000. So I wouldn't even want to touch that. USA, Netherlands. I think Netherlands is minus 190 right now, currently. If you guys want to place any wagers, like I said, message us on Instagram or Facebook. But honestly, just thinking about, there has to be an upset. If there's going to be an upset, it's going to be Team USA or Japan. I don't see South Korea beating Brazil, and I don't see Australia beating Argentina. So it's going to be one of them. Japan. I think it's going to be Japan. No, I'm just kidding. And because I don't want it to be Team USA, that's why.
Yeah, and I kind of messed up on the chronological order of these things because these games are being played on Monday.
Okay.
But there's 2 games on Sunday that I kind of skipped over. So we'll talk about those right now. Yeah. The 2 games that are going to be played on... so going back, just to recap, the Monday games, we are thinking Croatia and Brazil will win the Monday games. Sunday, you have Poland versus France and England versus Senegal.
Oh, my God.
I have it France, England.
Yeah.
Easy.
I think the favorites... I mean, I don't see anything from Poland. Yeah, I'm going to say it, and I don't want to be rude to any fan base. It's one of the worst teams that I've seen play. Against Mexico, you played defensively against a team that didn't even know its identity.
Played defensively. A team that played defensively. That's the thing.
You have Lewandowski, and you decided that Lewandowski couldn't 1v1 Hector Moreno. Like, what? Like, why are you playing defensively against a team? It's because what I feel it is that they know how Mexicans play already. I think, especially CONCACAF teams. This is why I don't like seeing Mexicans play CONCACAF if we either pass the next round, because of the fact that CONCACAF teams know how we play. And what they do is they just stack the back and they don't let us do anything, because they know the only player who can create his own play is Chucky Lozano. From there, we don't have anything. But Poland, very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Nothing. I don't see anything from France is going to destroy him. 4-0, 5-0, 5-1, 3-1. Just book it already.
So, yeah, I agree. France will beat Poland. And then for the England-Senegal game, England have been very disappointing, I feel, this World Cup. Yes, they beat a team 6-2, and then they beat a team 4-1. But it's not how we would expect them to play against the U.S. The one time I felt they played against a stronger side, a decent side, they choked. So I'm a little scared for this, because I'm going to say England's going to win, but they are facing tougher opponents now.
Yeah.
And based off how they've played in the past, I could see them like dropping it out. But for this game, at least, I will say England.
Yeah.
So
it's Senegal. They haven't had a true opponent. They play good. I watched all their games also. They're not a bad team, but they're not playing. They played Qatar, Ecuador, and Netherlands. I mean, now you're going to play Harry Kane. And the thing is, England's going to have the ball. So you either have to counterattack, you have to try something new, and they're very fast. I don't know. I see like a 3-1 England probably.
I'm thinking
3-2.
of a 2-1.
2-1
extra time. But yeah, now, so the Sunday games, we had France and England going through. The Tuesday games, again, the second game is not currently decided. We're going to go who we think is going to win the group, or come in second in the group. I think it's G. But right now the games are Morocco, Spain, and it's either Portugal versus Switzerland, Cameroon, or Serbia.
I think for that last game, even if unless it comes out to be Brazil, I think Portugal will pass. And then Spain, Morocco, like I said, I think Spain is clearly right now the best team in the World Cup. I really like how Morocco played these last few games, but I think Spain's gonna win. There has to be an upset. We picked all favorites.
Basically, all the favorites. So I will say, in my bracket, I know I talked about this to you. My two favorites for this World Cup were Brazil and Spain, and I said whoever won that game would win the World Cup. And I don't know. I don't think they will face each other anymore until the final, because they're on two opposite ends of the bracket. Unless
it was because of Japan.
Yeah,
Japan flipped it.
Unless Brazil ends up and Brazil comes down to second, then they face each other again.
That side, man, is going to be really difficult, because France has been playing good. England
has been playing decent,
and then you have Spain, and then they're going to play probably in the quarterfinals. They're going to play Portugal.
Yeah,
Spain, Portugal.
Unless Brazil in second.
Unless Brazil gets in second,
then
it's Brazil.
That side of the bracket is crazy, and in my opinion, the other side is if Brazil ends up being second, it's a walkthrough for Argentina for the final.
It's a walkthrough. It's just there's nobody on that side. There's no powerhouses. It's like
the U.S.
It's all bought out, so Messi wins the World Cup.
Yeah, there's a reason why Spain decided to land second place. Yeah. Yeah, but you'll see. We don't know how the Group G games are going to be played out, but there you go. We have it. Our winners, at least for my end, I have USA, Argentina, Croatia, Brazil, France, England, Spain, and Portugal.
Who's going to be in the final, now that you see the bracket?
Now that I see the bracket, on the one side of the bracket, I think Argentina will make the final. it all depends on where Brazil lands.
Yeah.
Because if Brazil lands on that side, I think Brazil makes the final. So let's do the two. If Brazil ends up being on this side of the bracket, I think it would be Brazil versus Spain. And if Brazil is on the bottom side of the bracket, I think it's Brazil, Argentina.
Yeah, I think it's Argentina, Spain. I think it's screaming that. I wonder. I'm gonna put up the odds for those two matchups to get to the finals. Just so if you guys are curious, but this game, I think for sure Argentina will come from that side. It's gonna be Argentina and Brazil from the side that we talked about first, and then for sure I think Spain. I don't think the French or the English will end up beating Spain. Just the power.
I mean, unless Brazil in second, bro. You know that's a tough.
I don't think that.
That's a tough one.
But
yeah, I think if Brazil is on the same side as Argentina, they would face off in the semis, which is what I have. In one, I think the bracket. And I have Brazil beating Argentina in the semis.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with what I said. But yeah, so now that we talked about that, we're gonna go into our top goal scorer and this talks about the World Cup. So we have a list of goal scorers right here. We have a 5-way tie for first and a lot for the second.
But you see some big names up there. So I'm still not out. Lionel Messi has 2 goals, and he'll probably end up having 2 or 3 goals, or at least 1 against Australia. So I'm still not out for that one. The surprising one was Ener Valencia.
Mm-hmm.
Mbappe wasn't a surprise. Gapo, well, we didn't even think about him because we don't. I think.
Yeah, we didn't think about him.
And then Alvaro Morata, I think we just went over his name also. But the surprising one is Ferran. I think we didn't think about him. Richarlison, because we never thought Neymar was going to get out he was going to get injured, which sadly enough, we wish Neymar comes back because that would give a lot to the.
I think he's coming back for the knockouts.
Okay, the knockouts. That's good. But right now, if I had to choose, I have to go with Lionel Messi again because that's the only team I see clearly going at least to the semifinals without knowing about Brazil, and then without Neymar, the Brazilian team anybody can score. So I don't see any of those being like the top scorer. I see Lionel Messi getting the top scorer, even if it's penalties. Even though he missed already 2 penalties, he would have been the top scorer by now. He's the only player to miss 2 penalties. Not only Mexico would have passed, but he's the only player to miss 2 penalties in a World Cup. He's a fraud. You know, what can I say?
Fraud. But another one who I think is a fraud, Harry Kane.
Oh,
that's who I thought was going to. That's who I thought was.
He was a favorite too. He was a favorite.
Yeah, he was a real favorite. England has scored 9 goals this World Cup, and Harry Kane has basically been a ghost. You have Marcus Rashford has 3 goals for England. So, like with me thinking Spain will do really good in this World Cup, and Brazil, and you can never knock out Mbappe scoring a hat trick any game. You know. Especially with Alvaro Morata being up there, I wouldn't be surprised if Alvaro Morata, Mbappe, take it. You know, one of the two. Lionel Messi, he's a fraud. He won't score ever again.
No, he's gonna score, and he's gonna score by penalties, and he's gonna get his way. He's gonna do tap-ins. Well, just like I don't know. That goal, the only goal he scored really good was against Mexico, but. Whatever.
Let's talk about Richarlison's his like bicycle kick over the head. Crazy goal.
Goal of the World Cup, maybe.
Goal of the World Cup. I would
Chavez.
I think that's more like me being just a Mexico fan. But in my opinion, if Ronaldo or Messi would have taken that free kick and that would have gone in, the world would have gone crazy.
Oh yeah.
But it's because it was a non-Messi. A non-big name player who scored it. No one really cares about it.
But it was a good goal.
But it was a very good goal.
What do they call him? The pigeon? My cousin was telling me about this. But he apparently looks like a pigeon. Shout out to Aurora, Illinois. But honestly, I think Lionel Messi is going to win it. What I was going to say is Well, he has the clear way to the World Cup championship. And in Valencia, did all he could. If Ecuador had this powerhouse, he would win it. By far, he would win it. He scored a lot of goals. The Three Crown Sportsbook page made like this ironic post on him because England scored 6 goals in the first game, right?
Yep.
6 goals.
6 goals.
And none of them were by Harry Kane. And I think they alluded to the fact that it was ironic that you had chosen him to get top goal scorer, but
Yeah,
0 goals.
How do you score 0 goals as a striker for a team that scored 6?
He should just quit.
I at that point, you know, he did get some assists, but I'm
Yeah,
like,
he did get assist.
you should be scoring the goals, man. Like, what? But yeah, he's done better than the Mexico players who scored 2 goals the whole World Cup.
Yeah.
Or better than Qatar who scored 1. But yeah, we got that there. So you're saying Leo Messi and possibly Richarlison?
Yeah, I think it's or Mbappe, Messi, Mbappe, Richarlison. Kramich is a big name I like there, but I don't see Croatia scoring a lot. So
yeah, for me,
Mbappe, maybe.
I think Marcus Rashford has had his time to shine. He will not score another goal for this World Cup.
Like
I'm surprised he has 3.
He came off the bench.
Off the bench for all the games, yeah, and he has 3. So I do think Alvaro Morata, if Spain does good, like, then again, Spain did score 7 against a Costa Rica side. And I don't remember how many Alvaro Morata scored, but that could have been a big reason why he has that many.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of not too keen on putting him up there. But I do think that a player like Mbappe, even though he might not make the World Cup final, I think he could put up some numbers that people won't be able to match.
Yeah, so I still think it's Messi. He gave his picks. Now, surprises of the World Cup, we're going to name 2 players that we think are going to be essential for the Champions League, essential for the next World Cup. I got 3 in mind, and I saw him yesterday. It sucks that Germany is not passing, but Musiala. Musiala is giving me glimpses of Messi, and he just dribbles in the area. He knows how to play with the surrounding team around him. He has Mueller on top, which, funny enough, he doesn't score, so I don't know why they even have him there. Gnabry played really good, but Musiala, for sure, one of the names for the World Cup to look at. I'm pretty sure Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG are already looking at this player. He played really good against... who did it play yesterday?
Germany?
Yeah.
They played Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. I know it's Costa Rica, but he had glimpses of a very promising player. Musiala was one of my top players. My second player that surprises the World Cup, Chavez. I was never big on Chavez till this World Cup. That goal from like, it had to be like 25 meters out.
Yeah, it was far.
Very far. If you look at the speed, velocity, and everything, it was a very good goal. Bayer Leverkusen, right?
Bayer Leverkusen.
They actually tweeted about him. So I'm not surprised if this next season he's in Europe. And basically enough, I think my third player, surprise of the World Cup, would probably have to go to like an African-based player. Just because we've seen a lot of these African teams come up and they played really good. There's a lot of midfielders on there that I probably can't even say their names, but one of them specifically from Senegal has played really, really good. He's been a surprise for me from the World Cup. But this is the World Cup where teams look at these players and they're willing to buy and pay really good bucks for their money. But I would have to go with Tyler Adams probably as another big surprise of the World Cup. He's just a really good player.
Yeah.
Even if he's a U.S.
You took my number 1 player,
Tyler
Adams. Currently is playing for Leeds United. I think they bought him for $24 million. This World Cup in itself just skyrocketed that up to crazy numbers.
Yeah, for sure. Probably 50, 60.
I think in the 60s, maybe 70 range. He just moved from RB Leipzig to Leeds. I think this is like his first season with them, if not like starting the second season. But he's been a player that I've enjoyed. I remember watching him with New York with the Red Bulls, and whenever he made that move to Leipzig, I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then it's just been a player that I've really enjoyed watching, that I kind of knew about, but I never expected him to be called the captain for the team. And now that he's done that, like, he's someone who I think will do great. Another one, Canadian player Tajon Buchanan, 23 years old, still very young. Could have been Young Player of the Year, but Ricardo Pepi won it in the MLS. So shout out Ricardo Pepi. But Tajon Buchanan, I think, is a player, Canadian again, who I think could do well. I remember his time whenever he played. I think he played in, if I'm not mistaken, the Revolution. He did a good attempt there. Yeah, he played with the Revolution. He also played. He's a player who came from collegiate soccer. He played for Syracuse, which is pretty cool to know that a collegiate player is, in my opinion, a player who could do well for the next World Cup. A hidden gem. Currently plays for Club Brugge in Belgium. I think he's gonna make a bigger move. And then last player, 21-year-old Argentinian Diego Almada, currently plays in the MLS for Atlanta United. He's very young, has had only 2 games for Argentina, but he came off the bench for Argentina their last game, and I thought he looked good. Of course, he was a little wobbly here and there because he's a little younger and stuff like that, but I think he's a player that, if the Argentinian coach has trust in him right now at 21 as an MLS player, I think don't be surprised if we see Diego Almada move out of MLS pretty soon.
Yeah, I think honorable mention Bruno Fernandes from Portugal, not because of his 2 goals. He's, sadly to say, Cristiano Ronaldo isn't really carrying the Portuguese team. Bruno Fernandes is basically carrying the Portuguese team. Him, I think for sure, some of the mentions that Max said, Tyler Adams, for sure. Disappointment, Kevin De Bruyne. He didn't look like he wanted to even be there. So I know Lukaku missed like some very, very like...
He missed.
Kevin De Bruyne, I think at like the 70th minute, he was just fed up with Lukaku. I remember there was this play where Lukaku was just open, and he decided to go with... what's the guy that looks like Kevin De Bruyne's name? He wears number 17, I think. One of the players that looks exactly like Kevin De Bruyne.
I'll get you this information right now.
So either way, he had him open, but the reason why he didn't pass it to him is because Lukaku had already missed like 3-4 chances, clear chances to go. Lukaku gets pissed, and he just doesn't even turn around to look at him. I think he's number 17.
Yeah, I don't know if that's him.
Or maybe 7. He looks.
If it's
he's
7,
a blondie. No, 7 was De Bruyne. No.
Yeah, so
it was.
It's not has.
He came up as a sub. That.
Which game?
Against
Croatia.
This last game against.
Yeah, this is the last game. If he came on as a sub,
he looks just like
Tillemans. Is that who you're talking about?
I think it. No, that's not him.
He's a little. He's darker.
He's darker. Let's see. It has to be. We have to find this out. He looks exactly like him.
Who are we comparing him to again?
To Kevin De Bruyne. No. He looked like a blondie. Like he was a complete blondie.
Oh, you might be talking about. Trying to see. Este.
No, there was this blondie on the field that looked just like him, and at points confused me in the second game against The second game was against Morocco, I think. There was just this blonde guy, who
we couldn't find it out. So we couldn't find it out.
But lastly, World Cup winner. I still will stick to Argentina. Everything's there. I mean, you see the side Argentina's on. There's no big forces unless Brazil comes. But Max, I think you still have Brazil, right?
Brazil or Spain. So those are my two that I think are the top ones. And I know I didn't answer the like worst player or something like that. And I'm just gonna take it personal as a Mexico fan. Raúl Jiménez, Funes Mori, and Henry Martin scored a goal.
Yeah, he scored a goal. But Raúl Jiménez,
yeah.
I don't like talking shit about him because of
his injury.
Because of his injury, because that was life or death, right?
Yeah, there. At that point, like I didn't care about his soccer abilities at that point.
I think he was just trying to prove himself.
Yeah, but in my head, I'm like, if you know you're not 100%,
you shouldn't have been.
You shouldn't have been at the World Cup.
Yeah, Santi.
He took Funes Mori, who played 10 minutes the whole World Cup, over Santi.
It's a joke, but again, like I said, I mean, what can we do with
he's gone. He's gone.
He's gone.
New
sheet.
But yeah, you have our picks on who we think is going to win the round of 16. We talked a little about the groups. I know this is going to be one of the longer episodes.
Yeah.
Just because we talked about two different topics, group stage and the round of 16. So hopefully by the next one, there's going to be a lot less games as well. And quarterfinals and stuff like that. So our next few episodes will be a little shorter than this. But just wanted to point it out. Again, thanks to everyone watching on YouTube. Thanks to everyone listening on Spotify. So if you guys don't feel like watching the whole YouTube video, watch it on the go on Spotify. We're there. So
yeah, on Spotify. Thanks for all the support. I know we amounted to 3,000 views on YouTube. So thank you for all the support. Like I said, this is powered by 3 Crown Sports and Media. Like I said, Messi's a fraud. Sucks that that Mexico is out.
Mexico.
All right, thanks guys.